Welcome back to the channel. Today we are getting into the Book of Wisdom Volume 1 by Harry B. Joseph. This one connects things most people think are separate: spirituality, science, symbolism, all in one system. In this video we break down light and reality, the Christ oil and the spine, the body as a mirror of the universe, the chakras and the brain. This is part 1. Let's begin. Introduction. The Book of Wisdom serves as a reservoir of esotericism, occultism, symbolism, and, most notably, syncretism. Syncretism, the method employed by me, the revival of wisdom, acts as the unifying force that merges all fields of knowledge. It weaves together every subject of matter into a singular holy science. In recognizing that all things originate from the One, the book asserts that everything is fundamentally interconnected. Our worldly existence unfolds within a fractional realm where every entity encapsulates the entirety of existence from both microscopic and macroscopic perspectives. In the contemporary era, the average individual predominantly operates with a left hemisphere dominant mindset. The left hemisphere of the brain dissects and disentangles the unified perception of reality from the right hemisphere into discrete fragments, enabling a logical manipulation and understanding of phenomena. To fully grasp the insights presented in this book, one must emancipate their mind from the indoctrination imposed by educational systems, and secondly, strive to perceive reality as an indivisible and holistic creation. With that foundation set, let us move into the very first chapter, the nature of light itself, and what it tells us about the universe we live in. Chapter 1. Light. Genesis 1:3. Let there be light. We live inside of a light-wave universe where all things are created out of light. Low-vibrating light turns into matter, and high-vibrating matter turns back into light. Walter Russell, in Universal 1, writes, God is thinking mind. The substance or body of God is light, the one universal substance, a thinking substance, comprehensive and describable and possessed of principles which are familiar to man through man's observation of the one universal substance in created things. The substance of all created things is light. The one substance of thinking mind is all that exists. Mind is expressed in light. Human, human. As a human, we are an attribute of a color that permits them to be classed that specific color. Each individual is the mind, not the physical body. Without the mind, the physical body and world would cease to exist. The mind is spirit. The mind is the intellect that manipulates the physical body and the world around us. The mind is like a frequency tuner, tuning itself into different frequencies. The mind exists within the mental plane, which is shared between all the minds of the universe. Thoughts are not created by the individual. They are received based on what frequency our mind is set to. If we set our mind to a specific topic, like generating wealth, we tune into that frequency in the mental plane, and we will receive thoughts on how to generate wealth. Our mind is generally operating off one specific frequency based upon our daily thinking patterns. Every frequency is a color, therefore, our mind is manifesting colors within the astral plane based upon what frequency our mind is generally operating off. If we are carrying hate in our mind, we will be generating reddish colors. This is why the word human means an attribute of a color. We should aim to become violet, the highest vibrational color within the light spectrum. We are light beings manifested into physical form. We do not see into the external world. Light waves enter the retinas, and then the image we see is produced in the visual cortex located at the back end of our brains. The visual cortex is the primary cortical region of the brain that receives, integrates, and processes visual information relayed from the retinas. The ancient Chemetics had a deep understanding of the function of reality and the brain. This is why it is reflected in their sculptures. Lucifer the light-bearer. Lucy in Latin means light. Element. Element. Ment equals mind. El equals God. Element equals God-mind. The elements only exist within the mind. Humans are God-made flesh. We are the God in separate bodies. God is mind, and all things exist in the universal mind. God is thinking all things into existence. Now that we understand the universe is made of light and our minds are tuned receivers within it, this brings us to one of the most profound and suppressed teachings in history, the holy science of the Christ oil, and what is actually happening inside your body every single month. Chapter 2. The Holy Science. Christ Oil. When the moon enters your sun sign, your birth zodiac sign, a psychophysical oil is released from the brain down the spine to the sacrum bone. This sacred fluid must be cared for and not destroyed by acidic foods and liquids. Our sexual energy and fluids must be retained if we wish to raise this psychophysical oil back to our brain, which is heaven. By opening our chakras, preserving our sexual energy, and maintaining the Christ oil, we can use the power behind the sexual energy, Kundalini, to raise it up from the base of the spine back to the crown chakra in the brain. By awakening the 7 chakras and raising the Kundalini to the crown chakra, new energy pathways open up within the brain, which feels like your head becomes hollow on the inside. The brain undergoes a remodeling process, expanding its capacity from roughly 10% of usage to the complete 100%. Dormant areas of the brain are unlocked, signaling new ways of brain functioning and experiencing the world. The Kundalini, over time, becomes a self-sustaining energy circuit fueled by food and water that grows and gets stronger. The oil process. The claustrum, whose name echoes Santa Claus, produces the psychophysical fluid which then goes to the pineal and pituitary gland. The pineal gland then electrically charges the fluid, representing the male principle Joseph. The pituitary gland magnetically charges the fluid, representing the female principle Mary. The fluid then travels down the 2 nerves, the ida, which is connected to the pituitary, and the pingala, which is connected to the pineal gland. The oil then rests for 2 to 3 days on the sacrum bone, also known as the solar plexus. If the oil is saved and not destroyed, it will activate the Kundalini energy, which will turn the oil into a gas and rise back up the 33 vertebrae to the medulla oblongata. This will then pass to the pineal gland and then to the cerebrum, which will rebirth and resurrect all brain cells, activate the pineal gland, and regenerate all the cells in the body. This process is symbolized as being born again. The brain in the Bible is referred to as the upper room where Jesus meets the 12 disciples, which are the 12 cranial nerves. It is the Holy Land, the land flowing with milk and honey, and the promised land of Israel. Milk equals the pituitary gland, and honey equals the pineal gland. Christos is Greek for oil, which then became Christ. Corinthians 13:5 asks, "Do you not know that Jesus Christ is within you?" The Ida, the feminine channel, is connected to the pituitary gland. The Pingala, the masculine channel, is connected to the pineal gland. To raise the oil, one must retain their sexual fluids, consume an alkaline diet, avoid acidic foods and fluids, avoid alcohol, practice Kundalini meditation, balance all chakras, keep the tongue on the top of the mouth, and maintain proper breathing. Psalms 137:6 states, "My tongue cling to the roof of my mouth if I do not remember you, if I do not consider Jerusalem my highest joy." Jesus, the oil, is in Nazareth, the head, with Joseph and Mary, the pineal and pituitary gland, and King Herod wants to kill him. Jesus, the oil, goes down the river Jordan, the spine, to Bethlehem next to the Dead Sea, the sacrum bone. Joseph and Mary, the pineal and pituitary gland, are waiting for Jesus, the oil, to return. The process of the oil coming down from the head symbolizes Jesus coming down from heaven into physical form. Jesus dying for 3 days and then being resurrected to be crucified at 33 is a metaphorical story about the Christ oil process within the body which activates 100% of the brain. The story of Jesus is metaphorical for the journey of the sacred oil the brain produces. The oil coming down from the brain is God descending from heaven to earth. Jesus dying for 3 days in the cave is symbolic of the sacred fluid staying in the sacrum bone at the base of the spine for some time. Once the oil is resurrected, meaning activating the Kundalini to raise the oil back up the spine, it travels past all of the 33 vertebrae on the back of the spine and crosses the vagus nerve. The sacred oil crossing the vagus nerve is Jesus being crucified at 33 years of age because there are 33 vertebrae on the back of the spine. The death of Jesus symbolizes being born again and turning matter into spirit. The Christ oil passes the 33 vertebrae of the spine and then passes the vagus nerve, which crosses over. Jesus was crucified at 33 because it was the crucifixion of the Christ oil passing the 33 vertebrae and crossing the vagus nerve. The 33 vertebrae correspond to the 33 years of Christ and Christ oil. Jesus dying at 33 also symbolizes turning matter into spirit when moving the oil past the 33 vertebrae, as he has sacrificed his flesh nature and personality and has now manifested his true God self. John 3:3. Unless you are born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God. It is not a coincidence that this verse is talking about being reborn again. You are reborn again when the oil raises back up past the 33 vertebrae. Matthew 6:22. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, if thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light. Genesis 32:30. Jacob names the place Peniel, for he said, I have seen God face to face. Peniel is the pineal gland, which is the seat of consciousness, the throne of God. The kingdom of God is within you, the key phrase in Luke 17:21. Jacob's ladder. Jacob symbolizes the oil in this parable. The rock he fell asleep on is the sacrum bone, where the oil falls and stays for some time. He then saw a ladder that reached heaven, which is the spinal cord leading up to the brain. The spinal cord is the stairway to your head, which is heaven. Freemasons symbolize the spinal cord with a ladder or staircase. Christians have heard that Jesus was crucified at 33, between two thieves at Golgotha, which translates to place of the skull. This story is symbolic, representing the space within your skull between the brain's left and right hemispheres. The age 33 symbolizes the spinal column with 33 vertebrae on the back of the human spine, like the ladder Jacob saw in Genesis. The third cross represents the midbrain, and the ventricles create a Holy Grail-shaped cavity inside your skull. This space, like a manger and later a tomb, holds the Pia Mater, or tender mother, Mother Mary, producing cerebrospinal fluid, often linked to the salt of salvation and salivation. This fluid, called chrism, is born and baptized in the River Jordan. The spinal cord travels down the nervous system and later returns to be symbolically crucified at the 33rd vertebra. This process crosses the arbor vitae of the cerebellum, leading to a return to the cave for sanctification, a symbolic resurrection, being born again from the cave of the third ventricle. The sun and moon are the two male and female principles that correspond with all things in this creation. The sun is positive, male, and electric. The moon is negative, female and magnetic. The sun and moon create the sacred fluids within the brain. The two sacred fluids are referred to in the Bible as the milk and honey. The land flowing with milk and honey is the brain. Numbers 14:8. And if the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Milk equals moon equals pituitary gland. Honey equals sun equals pineal gland. Speaking of the three glands that govern this sacred process, let us now look deeper at who the three wise men truly are. The three wise men. There are three significant glands in the brain: the pineal gland, pituitary gland, and thalamus. The thalamus is integral to sensory perception and consciousness, and it may also produce dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that transmits signals in the brain and other areas of the nervous system. It plays a crucial role in mood regulation, being often referred to as the feel-good neurotransmitter because it is associated with pleasure and reward. Dopamine also plays a role in motor control, with the degeneration of dopamine-producing neurons being a key feature in Parkinson's disease. It is essential for cognitive functions such as attention and learning, and is involved in the regulation of sleep. Imbalances in its levels have been linked to neurological and psychiatric disorders including schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, anorexia, addiction, PTSD, and dementia. The pineal gland is responsible for producing melatonin, a hormone that may rejuvenate red blood cells and counteract the aging process while also preventing the body's systems from shutting down. Meanwhile, the pituitary gland releases serotonin, a natural mood stabilizer that induces feelings of happiness. Additionally, serotonin plays a role in wound healing, toxin regulation through bowel control, maintaining wakefulness, alleviating depression, and regulating appetite and digestion. The three wise men, traditionally known for presenting gifts to Christ at his birth, can be metaphorically likened to the three essential brain glands, pineal, pituitary, and thalamus, which contribute serotonin, melatonin, and dopamine to the central nervous system and the body. The health of the body relies on the harmonious functioning of these glands. The pineal gland secretes melatonin, symbolized as honey, while the pituitary gland produces serotonin, symbolized as milk. The blending of these two fluids forms the Christos, or Christ oil, within the brain. This sacred fluid is released down the spine to regulate bodily functions. This process is echoed in the notion of presents delivered down the chimney by Santa Claus, where the chimney symbolizes the spine and the presents symbolize the vital fluids generated in the brain. Santa Claus, Saint Claus, claustrum in the brain. Genesis 3:24 speaks of the Garden of Eden, cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. The flaming sword is the consciousness in the center of the brain. The tree of life is the central nervous system below the brain, and the cherubim is the brain. Now we move into the force that powers the entire oil process, the Kundalini, the serpent energy that every ancient tradition knew about. Kundalini, John 3:14, just as Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up. The snake equals the serpent equals the Kundalini. Lifting up the serpent is lifting up the Kundalini energy. Sun equals soul equals soul. The soul of man must be lifted through Kundalini, activating the pineal gland. Activation of the pineal gland gives you the abilities to leave the body and explore other realities. Moses was teaching people to raise their Kundalini energy to activate the pineal gland, which would then give the human out-of-body abilities. Leaving the body gives you access to worlds beyond time and space. The story of Jesus is symbolic of the alchemical process that occurs monthly within the human body. Jesus falls from heaven and incarnates on the earth, which is symbolic of the Christ oil traveling down the spine from your brain. The sacred oil stays still within the sacrum bone for 3 days, which is Jesus being dead in the cave for 3 days. Once Jesus resurrects, the oil rising up the spine, he gets crucified at 33 years of age. The spine contains 33 vertebrae, and once the oil passes all 33 vertebrae and reaches the optic thalamus, it gets crucified on the cross because the thalamus looks like a cross. The death of Jesus symbolizes turning matter into spirit, as the return of the oil gives the human supernatural abilities like astral travel. The mind is the serpent because serpents symbolize knowledge. The mind is the intellect that connects the soul to the body. This is why the mind is in the middle. It projects the soul into the reality we choose to experience. The soul, Brahma, has multiple faces, symbolizing the soul taking on different bodies. It is dimensional. Jesus Christ. Jesus equals body. Christ equals Christ consciousness. Freemasons do not say Jesus Christ. They say Christ Jesus. They do this to say consciousness comes first, Christ over the body. With the Kundalini rising and consciousness expanding, this leads us directly to the third eye, the organ of true perception. The third eye. The third eye is also referred to as the pineal gland, mind's eye, and single eye. The center of the brain is the pineal gland, which encapsulates pure consciousness. Misinterpreting the pineal gland as possessing all the mystical qualities is a mistake. The gland is not the literal third eye. It serves as a reflection or symbol of that organ in the body. The genuine power of the gland lies in its spiritual counterpart, not the physical. The true third eye is not visible to regular sight, but shows itself to clairvoyance as a colorful aura around the gland, glowing with electric light. H.P. Blavatsky says the brain's perceptive organ is in the aura of the pineal gland. This aura responds to vibrations but can only be felt, not seen. In living people, when thinking, a constant vibration happens in this aura. A clairvoyant can almost see 7 scales of light in the brain, from dim to bright. The mind dwelling in the pineal gland is a psychic center, serving as the intelligence that governs the physical body. The brain is likened to an electrical computer responsible for interpreting and implementing the commands and instructions issued by the mind. The third eye and mind has the ability to portray the spiritual planes that lie beyond the perception of the 2 physical eyes. It is the gateway into the ethereal planes that lies within the mind of man. As humans, we consist of spirit and matter. To connect with our inner vision, it is recommended to detoxify the pineal gland by consuming a single fruit of your choice for a week while incorporating detoxifying herbs like cayenne pepper and organic sea moss. Research indicates that fluoride can lead to the calcification of the pineal gland, weakening the connection to the true self. Fluoride is commonly found in tap water, toothpaste, and processed foods. The main purpose of meditation is to activate the pineal gland and establish a connection with the authentic cosmic self located at the center of the brain. Proper meditation can lead to mystical experiences, including tingling sensations in the head and throughout the body, a sense of hollowness, lightness, and possibly even out-of-body experiences. Walter Russell said, "Man cannot comprehend God, for man must be God to comprehend him. Man is God, and therefore God is within the comprehension of man. Man is mind, man is matter. Mind and matter are one. God is mind." This is a universe of mind. Where attention is directed, energy follows. During meditation, the focus is on directing attention to the center of the mind. The goal is to channel all energy and awareness to the brain's center while maintaining a rhythmic breath and stillness. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth with closed eyes, and concentrate all attention on the center of the brain, just between the eyebrows. Practice this for approximately 10 to 30 minutes. The sun corresponds with the pineal gland, which is why there is an ancient practice called sun gazing. The sun serves as the primary source of energy for our brains, and this energy enters our body through the eyes. The sun's rays can assist in decalcifying and activating the pineal gland. For beginners, it is recommended to start sun gazing when the sun's rays are weak, such as during sunset or sunrise. Let us now go even deeper into the anatomy of this sacred gland and understand exactly what it does and why so much effort has been made to keep it dormant. The pineal gland. The pineal gland is a cone-shaped body, 6 mm high and 4 mm in diameter. The mind inhabits the pineal gland. It is the organ through which the electrical forces of the body play. It is what the universal essence, soul, and consciousness deposited. It is the light of the body that gives life to the whole temple. The pineal is the male spiritual organ. The pineal gland opens when the two eyes are closed for periods. The more spiritual work you do, the more active the pineal gland becomes. The pineal gland is covered in microcrystals, and crystals have the ability to receive and emit frequencies. The pineal gland has piezoluminescent cells which are crystalline jagged shaped. The retina of the two eyes also has these cells. The pineal has them because it takes in light and refracts and emits light. The pineal gland emits light. This is why we say enlightenment. The Vatican suppressed the information on the pineal gland's mystical powers. The Vatican took over Europe and destroyed and stole all the knowledge and libraries containing all the ancient texts and information of our true powers. They then created an encoded Holy Bible to keep people looking outside of themselves for God. The pineal gland is the seat of consciousness, also known as the seat of the soul and throne of God. The pineal gland is an empty chamber that holds the universal essence which is invisible to the naked eye. Our true self is within the pineal gland, and from this center we control the physical body. Everything in the body leads back to one source point, which is the center of the brain. The center of the brain is the pineal gland, which we refer to as I. When we say I, we are referring to the inner being, the observer, the entity that is controlling the body. If we say my body, then if it is mine, it is not me. This body is the vehicle for our soul and entity to operate within this physical world of time and space. The throne of God is in the center of the brain. Consciousness is God, and we are all that same spark of consciousness in the center of the brain. The right hand of God is the right hemisphere of the brain. Chronicles 3:10 tells us the most holy place equals the pineal gland and center of the brain, and the two cherubim equal the two hemispheres of the brain. And with that, we arrive at the final piece of the holy science, the sacred vessel that holds all of this divine fluid, the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail. The Holy Grail equals the neck and skull. The reason why the Holy Grail is a cup is because the sun and moon create the holy fluid, the Christ oil, and fill it up every month. The sun and moon create the milk and honey in the brain. The milk is the fluid created by the moon. The honey is the fluid created by the sun. Pituitary equals milk equals moon equals female equals magnetic. Pineal equals honey equals sun equals male equals electric. Corinthians 6:19-20. Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. Glorifying God in your body is raising the chrism and Christ oil up the spine and looking after the body. The elites in power have externalized all of the sacred things like the Holy Grail and the Temple of Solomon. This is done to keep you from finding out the fact that you are the ultimate of all things. Man is truly created in the image of God. The church and other religions are teaching the masses the exoteric, meaning external teachings. This is done purposely to keep the pyramid scheme up and running. Meanwhile, the people in power get taught the esoteric, the internal teachings about the body, consciousness, and the metaphysical aspects of reality. The Bible is written in such a way it will resonate with your level of understanding. You can perceive the Bible physically, historically, and metaphorically depending on how wide you have expanded your mind. Your reality is your level of realization. Now that we have covered the inner mechanics of the body's sacred science, it is time to zoom out and see the bigger picture, how the human body mirrors the entire universe. This is the microcosm. Chapter 3. The Microcosm. As within, so without. Genesis 2:9. The tree of life equals the cardiovascular system. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil equals the nervous system. The cardiovascular system is the tree of life because it provides life to the physical body. The garden is your body, and the midst is the middle, which is the heart. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the nervous system because it gives our mind knowledge of good and evil. The mind and soul come from eternal bliss, and the mind projects the soul into this dualistic simulation to gain the knowledge of dualism. The nervous system decodes electrical impulses given to it by the external world and reports back to the brain. Our consciousness is pretty much experiencing a program played out by the central nervous system. The four rivers of Eden. Genesis 2:10. The heart is the center of the body's electromagnetic field, and at the center of every torus field is magnetism. Magnetism pulses and radiates. This is why you have a heartbeat. It is the radiation of magnetism that creates the beating of your heart. The heart is 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. It is the most magnetic organ within the body. The heart is the place of thine emotions. Emotion is the language of the universe. The magnetic pulse of the heart is what gives life to the body. All things that live have to have a pulse. It is the universal breath of life. We breathe, pulse, blink, sleep, live, and die. All of this is the expression of the one universal breath of life. The four rivers flowing in the Garden of Eden are the four holy fluids in the body. These are blood, saliva, Christ oil, and semen or vaginal fluid. You exist as a quantum photon, akin to a celestial entity inhabiting a physical form. With omniscient awareness, you are directly connected to the source, essentially embodying the essence of a divine entity. However, during our incarnation in this realm, we undergo a separation from the source, experiencing a lack of awareness regarding our true divine insights due to the program orchestrated by the central nervous system. The Temple of Solomon is you. Soul equals soul. Mon equals mind. The body is the temple of the soul and mind. Just like the year has its 4 seasons, so likewise there are seasons within the life of man. He is not only subject to the winter around him, but the winter is within him. He is not only affected by the great cycling motions of the earth, but by smaller cycles based upon the fact that the body itself is a miniature world, a microcosm in whose constitutions all larger processes are reproduced in miniature. There is a sympathy between the larger and miniature cycles in man, so that all of nature is bound together in one vast pattern and governed by rules for which there are no exceptions. During the sun's exaltation in Cancer, individuals often experience heightened creativity, happiness, and energy. This astrological alignment is occurring within us as well as outside of us. Conversely, when the sun is in a weakened state in Capricorn, its impact is thought to extend to mental, physical, and spiritual aspects. Psalm 82:6-7, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. We are a spark of God, the Word made flesh. As within, so without. The body mirrors the cosmos, and just as there are different dimensions in the universe, there are different planes of existence, and we move through all of them. Planes of existence. There are different levels of reality. They are not separate. They melt into the plane that is above and below. In other words, each plane is a product of the plane that is above. The higher the plane, the more fluid and formless it becomes. The lower the plane, the more material and solid it becomes. The mental plane is the dimension of the mind. The mind is a part of the universal mind. Therefore, the mental plane is shared between all the minds that exist. It is the world of thoughts. Thoughts are not created. They are received based upon what frequency our mind is set to. This is why we call it a mindset. Each thought, topic, and subject is a frequency. And when you set your mind to these topics, you gain the thoughts that are on that similar frequency. The world of thought is completely formless. It is the most fluidic plane. The astral plane is where thoughts manifest into forms. For example, the mental plane is the thought of the chair, and the astral plane is the imagination of that chair. It is basically the world of imagination and mental pictures. The screen we see in our mind when we imagine something is the astral plane. We create with our thoughts. This is why thoughts are things. The astral plane is created out of thoughts manifesting, and each thought has a vibrational frequency. This results in generating 3 main levels to it: higher, middle, and lower. The higher planes will embody high vibrational thoughts like love and joy, and the lower planes will be demonic thoughts like hate, murder, and lust. When we astral project, we are using our mind to project the soul into the astral plane. You will only see and encounter beings that are on a similar frequency as you. Demons, angels, spirits, and jinns are living within the astral plane. They are entities that have no physical body. Elementals are spirits of the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. The etheric plane is the world of energy, electricity, and magnetism. It is the 5th element, also known as spirit or ether. The ether is a substance that has 1 foot in the physical world and 1 foot in the astral world. Ether is where we get the word either from. The word together has the word ether within it. It is joining 2 planes. There are also etheric entities that live amongst us, like goblins, gnomes, and trolls. They are entities that have the ability to materialize or stay in the astral body at their will. The physical plane is the world of matter. It is the world governed by the 5 elements. It is the world of effect. Everything we experience and visually see with the 2 eyes is the effect of the higher planes above. This is where we get the saying, as above, so below. You change the higher planes of existence. You change the physical planes. This is why magic is indeed real. Magicians and occultists do have methods to have contact with these astral and etheric entities, which then have the ability to manipulate the physical plane. Change your mind, you change your reality, as within so without. The ethereal plane is in constant rotation with the physical plane through rhyme, karma, polarity, and gender. The circle is never ending. It has no beginning or end. It is the expansiveness of all things. The astral plane exists alongside the physical realm, comprising both a divine solar level and a lower lunar level. The divine level holds the blueprints for all things, while the low level is the initial sphere the soul reaches after death. The astral plane lacks a natural landscape appearing white and formless, consisting of astral matter. This substance can be magically manipulated to create thought forms. Objects created on the astral plane can eventually manifest in the physical realm. A sigil is a magical symbol used in esoteric practices, often serving as a pictorial representation or signature of a deity or spirit. The term sigil is rooted in the Latin word sigillum, which translates to seal. The thoughts we focus on can materialize in the fourth dimension. If we consistently hold onto a particular thought, it transforms into an astral form. The more emotional energy we invest, the stronger it gets. Take corporate logos like Nike's swoosh, for instance. Over years, millions of minds have given it mental attention and emotional energy. The symbol carries an astral energy created by the collective perception of the masses. Wearing sigils can either benefit us or negatively impact us. The planetary gods are not planets. They are 7 cosmic energies that give off their unique energy and qualities to all that is upon the face of the earth. The Holy Bible and other religious texts are crafted in a way that resonates with individuals at different levels of understanding. Directing thoughts, energy, and attention towards the deity, Jesus Christ brings forth an entity within the astral plane. Organized religion functions as an energy harvesting tool for entities within the astral realm. Instead of advocating worship, we should be seeking to embody the qualities associated with Jesus in our life. Those in positions of power are orchestrating a collective consciousness or hive mind for the masses. The intent is to establish a global religion, unifying belief systems and leading to the summoning of a demon within the astral plane. Building on the astral plane, let us now go into how we can consciously access it through astral projection. Astral projection. The astral plane is the 4th dimension. It is the unseen of what we see. It is where thought forms exist as mental images. It can be seen only by our mind's eye. You will experience beings and entities that match your frequency, so make sure you are vibrating as high as possible before trying to project. Everything you think of will manifest instantly in the astral plane. Your vision in the astral plane will not be very clear when you first astral project. You have to work on strengthening it. The ideas we mentally entertain can take form in the 4th dimensional plane. By entertaining negative thought forms for long periods, the emotional power we give this thought can manifest into a demon. Every single mental addiction you have is some demon you created within the astral plane. It grows the more emotion, energy and motion you give it. The word demon has mon in it, which means moon. Moon is mind. We create demons with our minds. Your mind is the projector of your soul. Your soul is the experiencer, the observer. When you astral project, you are using your mind to project the soul out of the physical body into the astral plane, where there are no limitations of time and space. When you dream, your mind is projecting the soul into another reality while the physical body is resting. To astral project, lie down flat with no body parts touching. Rest every single muscle and be as still as possible. Close your eyes. Breathe deep in through the nose and slowly out the mouth. Meditate until you have lost all desires and the mind is empty of thoughts. Then focus your attention on the middle of your brain, the pineal gland. Do this until you start to feel a tingling sensation all over the body. The tingling sensation is your energy body, the etheric body, being awakened. Now imagine yourself pulling a rope up into the sky. You may feel yourself being lifted out of the body. Do not be scared. Keep doing this exercise until you gain the ability to leave the whole body and discover the astral plane. When successfully astral projecting and desiring to return to your physical body, the process involves a simple act of intention. By directing your thoughts toward reuniting with your physical form and focusing on the idea of returning, you can initiate a swift transition, effectively guiding yourself back into your body. Jesus never walked on water. It is symbolic for leaving the physical body. The water is the ethereal plane, which is the veil between the physical world and the astral world. Jesus was walking on top of the veil of the ether. When Jesus teaches Peter to walk on water, He is teaching him not to be scared or else you will fall back into the water. When you start to fear when projecting, you will be sucked back into your body. Matthew 14:29. He was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me!" The body of light, or Merkaba, is the vehicle through which all of this travel occurs. Let us understand what it is. Body of light. Merkaba, mer equals light, ka equals spirit, ba equals body. It is a vehicle of ascension and a celestial sphere portraying different planes of reality, neutralizing the duality of self by combining the upper and lower self. You are a soul that experiences different realities within the multiverse. In each plane, you take on different bodies. Your aim is to become a multi-dimensional creature and not to be bound to just one reality. At the heart of the microcosm lies consciousness itself, the force that drives the higher and lower self. Let us explore what that means for each of us. Consciousness. Humans possess a more advanced consciousness that markedly differs from that of animals. Animals operate with a one-way consciousness, driven by instinct and lacking self-awareness. Unlike animals, humans exhibit a two-way consciousness, allowing us to be self-aware and engage in introspective analysis of our physical, spiritual, and mental aspects. This dual awareness is often considered divine, where altering the N to D in divine forms the word divide, underscoring the inherent duality in our consciousness. Consciousness is a state of oneness, transcending gender and form, a divine spark of the divine. Within each human, a dual nature is inherent, a higher self and a lower self, the ego, representing the spiritual and physical aspects respectively. Man is a composition of both matter and spirit, and the quest for balance is essential. Otherwise, the manifestation of chaos ensues. The ego, the earthly and bodily personality, is the physical nature of the self. It is an identity shaped by the mind through experiences and accumulated knowledge over the years. The ego, absent during toddler years, subtly acknowledges its mortality, leading to impatience, greed, and lust. The body and ego is the internal voice pushing for the release of sexual energy and the pursuit of fleeting sensations, even when the higher self advocates otherwise. In contrast, the higher self is divine, godly, and eternal. It embodies love for everything and everyone. It serves as the guiding voice within, urging one to do the right thing, such as retaining sexual energy, refraining from harm, and fostering love for others. The body serves as a reflection of both the higher and lower aspects of the self. The lower self, associated with desires such as lust, gluttony, and the pursuit of power, is manifested in the bottom half of the body. Conversely, the higher self is represented in the top half of the body, especially above the heart. Psalms 82:6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Jesus is indicating the heart chakra because the heart serves as the equilibrium point for the 7 chakras. Attaining Christ consciousness requires the harmonization of all the chakras and living from the heart. The term heaven inherently contains the word even, signifying balance. Heaven, therefore, represents an internal state of equilibrium. And that is where we will close out part 1 of our deep dive into the Book of Wisdom by Harry B. Joseph. If you want to go even deeper, the link to the Book of Wisdom is in the description below. I highly recommend grabbing a copy for yourself. And if this resonated with you, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because part 2 is coming. And that is where we get into the 7 seals, the seat of God, and what the brain actually is. Like, subscribe, and I will see you there.